Well, hello, friends. Welcome back to Quarantine Talk. I'm out on a mission tonight. I got to pick up a shipment for work in another town, so I'm driving down there now that there's not many people out. I figured that would be best. And I thought I could do a little car video while driving, like we used to do back in the day. So today I thought I would talk a little bit about some silly things I got into when I was young. And I guess I want to talk about the very first time I used Linux, because the very, very first time I used it, it was something called Monkey Linux, I think. And it was this weird distribution that you had to bootstrap it from DOS, and it was using like a DOS loader for Linux. So you would go in DOS, and then you would run some program, and then it would sort of load the Linux kernel and then boot into it from DOS. So you didn't actually install it on your machine, you just had it in, you didn't install it as like a bootable OS on your hard drive, but rather you had to log into it from DOS, if that makes sense. And I don't remember how old I was, maybe 12 years old or something like that. And I was really confused by the whole thing, but I could absorb enough internet culture to understand that this was somehow cool, but I didn't get what was the cool thing about it. And there was a popular Swedish meme song back in those days where there was some lyric in it about how Linux is just a cheap copy of Microsoft DOS. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I had this meme knowledge about it, basically. But I got this Monkey Linux thing running on my machine, and then somehow, because I was a little shit, I figured that what I should do next is not use it for anything, but instead I should just rebrand it as my own thing, and then put it online and try to like pawn it off as if I made it. So I figured out sort of how to do like a search and replace, sort of, and I changed all the instances of the name. I think it was Monkey Linux. I changed all the instances of the name of the distribution to Linux, and then I zipped it up and I made a web page for it, and I think I spent like significantly more time on making the web page than I did on actually making the distribution, because it was literally like search and replace. Just get rid of all the author names and the distribution name, and just put Linux, made by Andreas Kling. And what is Linux? I think in the documentation there was like, what is Linux? And I just skipped over it, and I couldn't tell you what it was, but I made it. And I got, I think I got this free website hosting account back then, which was, there were a couple to choose from. There was like GeoCities and AngelFire, and I got it on Zoom. So I think the URL was like members.zoom.com/Linux, I think. But I've never been able to find it on the Internet Archive or anything, and I so wish I could see that page and just, have like a proper atomic cringe moment about myself in the past. But I guess somehow I figured eventually that this was stupid, what I was doing, and I removed the page. But it would be funny to see it now. And I got into a bunch of little things like that, where I would like take something that was open source and just change the branding to say that it was made by me and give it some alternate name. And then I got like, I learned a little bit about programming intros. So I would like take some existing open source thing and then put like this cheesy like crack intro at the front or at the start of the program. So I had like, I don't know, I had homepages about these things too, where you could like download these software made by me, which had my cheesy rainbow, like this rainbow text intro where said it was made by me. I had like a stock market simulator, which I did not make, and some other thing which I did not make. Very strange. I don't know what was up with that. I had no comprehension that plagiarism was a thing, or that I didn't actually make these things. I was like that, that meme comic about the guy who like holds the thing in his hand and now he says, I made this. I was that guy, right? And it was a strange time. I was just trying to think, like, what was the last thing like that I did, but I can't recall exactly. Probably the Linux distribution, actually. But I also, I think I've talked about it before in a commute talk, but like some of the, I was doing some shareware in the 90s, and my most successful shareware was called BrainPad. It was a text editor for Windows, and it was based on the like the MDI text editor example program that came with Visual Basic back in the day. And it was like it was an example program where you could edit multiple text documents in one process, and it was very, very bare bones. So I just decked it out with a billion features, and put a logo and a cool about box with scrolling text and a photo of me in 6th grade in the about box. But I guess that was sort of when I started getting away a little bit more from this weird plagiaristic tendencies, because I realized that it's okay to start with a base of something that's open and freely available, but you really gotta add some value to it. So I learned that the slow way, but a bunch of people registered my shareware, so I was pretty excited about that. And yeah, man, why did I want to talk about this? I guess I just wanted to confess to my weird plagiarized Linux distribution. I haven't talked about it to anyone in forever. It was a silly thing, and I never really tried to make a proper Linux distribution. I did Linux from scratch many times, so I have some experience like putting one together from instructions, but I never made my own. I thought about it a couple of times, but it always seems like, I know people don't like to hear this, but you do realize all distributions are basically the same, right? And there's not that much of a meaningful difference. And I like to say that there's a reason that all the distro reviews are always like 90% screenshots of the installer and the package manager, because that's the only thing that's really different. Anyways, I'm not here to dunk on distributions. If you want to make a distribution and that makes you feel fulfilled, more power to you. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hate on what you do. There's nothing wrong with having fun. We should all have fun. So I take back any negativity about distributions, other than saying that they are mostly the same. But anyway, it feels so different to be driving somewhere, but not be like super tired in the morning or tired in the afternoon, but rather like kind of mellow in the evening. But it's a good feeling and good spirits, despite the circumstances. So I hope everybody else is doing all right too. And I guess I will see you next time, wherever that is, whenever that is. So take care, and bye.